Okay, I'm only gonna do 2 on this one, because we're at that time of year where I need to start spreading things out a little bit. So, we did just come from a walk in the woods, but that's going to be the heading of next week's video. So, if you were really, really looking forward to that walk in the woods review, I am so sorry. I know some person out there really, really wants to know what we think of Walk in the Woods. I am sorry, but
Next week.
I'm sure they will be on the edge of their seat. Our first movie is going to be Shyamalan's new outing, The Visit. This is Shyamalan doing a couple of things he hasn't quite done before. Because, well, I was just telling you yesterday when we were waiting for it to start, when I was trying to figure out what might be happening in this movie.
Nice. You did it on purpose.
He hasn't really, despite all the shit that he gets, he hasn't really done the same thing twice yet. Pretty much every kind of thing that's going on in each of his movies is something totally different from what went on in the last, so, this is what we have. I should probably throw something else out before we start this, especially since we're talking about a Shyamalan movie. Apparently there's a new thing going around now, where this is the new thing to bitch about on the internet, where just saying that there is a twist in a movie is considered a spoiler.
Really?
Yeah, which I kind of get where they're coming from. I understand that, but I'm just gonna kind of preface this by saying that if obviously you know that I go into everything as blind as I possibly can, as far as to avoid fucking everything. So if you are spoiled by the fact that a review says that there's a twist in it, if you're really desperate to go in that blind, you probably shouldn't be watching or reading fucking reviews. And I'm not quite sure how you let that slip past you, but shock surprise, it's a Shyamalan movie and there is a twist in it. I'm sorry if that is spoiled for you. Holy shit. So, one thing he's going for here that he hasn't done before is it's a found footage movie, kind of, somewhat. I don't know, because for starters, there's always some bullshit excuse to do found footage. In this particular case, this time, the daughter wants to make a documentary of this visitation with their grandparents so that her mother, who is estranged from them and has been for like the last 15 years, will have closure or something. Because they had a fight and they haven't been talking. So that's what this movie is basically the documentary this girl is currently making or has already made. I can't tell. But one thing that kind of threw me off immediately, number one, it's not entirely found footage because we get exterior shots that don't seem to be part of this documentary. And secondly, and most importantly, I would think, if there's one thing that, when you do found footage, you basically, it's so you can feel like you're really there or whatever. But the found footage thing starts immediately. They're doing that from the very start. However, this movie still has opening credits. So, like, that's one thing if you put credits in there, as if it's like the credits of the documentary that she made. Because when the Funny Games red lettering comes up and says that it's like, you know, Tuesday morning or Wednesday night or whatever, I took that as that's something she put in the documentary, as opposed to the movie telling us when it is. But the fact that the movie begins as her documentary, but says written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, there's some confusion to be had about the whole opening credit sequence being there. But maybe I'm just overly nitpicking the found footage thing, but who doesn't? Another thing is, I know Shyamalan is known for starting off in horror. Actually, no, I think Wide Awake came before The Sixth Sense. I don't remember. And he, like, wrote Stuart Little or something. And there's a rumor that he ghost wrote She's All That. I like to believe that's true. I don't know. But I don't think it's ever actually been proven. But the first thing you kind of think of when you think of him, apart from his now shitty reputation, is horror. His name might have something to do with that, too. So it's kind of, maybe that's the reason it's a found footage movie, because he wanted to explore another aspect of horror that he hadn't yet, that's kind of somewhat still popular now. I don't know anymore. The Gallus' box office did make me a very happy person, though.
Yes.
So, the thing, that's its negative box office, by the way. If for some reason you missed the Gallus review, don't seek that one out. But no, when you just kind of look at this, there's really no reason. Like, this is a movie that didn't need to be found footage. Like, I get the setup and I get why they're doing it that way, but the fact that they kind of broke away from it to show certain exterior shots and didn't really seem that entirely invested in the found footage concept, I just didn't think there was really a reason for it in general. However, there is something here that also needs to be said, which is a lot of people aren't sure how to react to this movie because of the genres it throws together. He's stated multiple times before it came out that it's actually supposed to be more comedy than it is horror. But there's still people coming away from it saying that there wasn't enough horror, or they didn't find any of it scary at all. And you can't tell, what's supposed to be scary but is actually unintentionally funny, and what's supposed to be intentionally funny. It is kind of hard to gauge that, especially with, the way his movies are. A lot of people still are having that debate about The Happening. Like, if he did The Happening, it turned out that way on purpose. Nobody really knows. But, the thing is, to my understanding, he was so adamant about doing it this way that he shot the movie one way entirely as a horror movie, and then he basically reshot it again as a comedy. And this is like a combination of it. Like, he took pieces of both of those, and that's the movie that we have, which is an interesting way to do that, and it kind of makes you not sure which one is which may be his intention. I don't know that either. But I will say, going into this, there are a few things. It really helps to understand that going in, that a lot of people say he's maybe covering his ass, but I would say it's been talked about so much now that I think he consciously did, in fact, go in making this a comedy. And the fact that I'm not necessarily going to apologize for him or anything, because The Last Airbender did happen, and After Earth, the badness of After Earth I thought was really blown out of proportion, and to be totally honest with you, I actually don't mind The Happening. I kind of take it for what it is, and it's all its weird craziness and badness. I feel like there's just something in there that works for me. I don't know. I've seen it a few times now, and it's, I kind of get a kick out of it. So, I kind of get why people hate it, but I don't know, it just works for me. But, another thing that really works here is, the role of the kids, who are Becca and Tyler, I think their names are. I think Becca is a new actress, and Tyler is the kid that played Alexander in Alexander's
Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day.
Yeah, I lost it. I've been able to say that title my whole life, and this time I forgot it. Yes. And what's interesting here is, in pretty much any other movie like this, the kids would have been the most annoying characters. You would have been begging and pleading for these characters to be killed if this were any other movie. But the kids are actually, the actress that plays Becca is actually, like, I think she could become, like, a really, really strong actress, given this, I really don't know if she's done anything else or not. But,
she's been working since 2011 in a short.
And the character of Tyler is actually really funny, which is really weird and surprising, because this is that one character. Most movies, especially in this genre, have that kid character that you just cannot stand, that just drives you crazy. Like, The Babadook, for instance. I still have a headache from that movie a year later. But this character is really fun. I mean, and yeah, you kind of get bad vibes immediately because he's a wannabe rapper, and you're like, oh shit, I'm going to hate this character. But you really don't. He's really funny.
Yeah, he definitely brings the comedy in the movie.
I also like that running joke where every time somebody sees that they have a camera, they're like, there's somebody that's dabbled in acting and they try to do monologues before they're cut off. I like that little running joke going on as well. But one thing that was kind of odd is something, I don't really recall him going for this a lot, looking back on it. I mean, his movies have some gore in them every now and then, and weird shit happens. There were quite a few times where this movie went for gross out, which was a little unexpected, I guess. Though I did like that when we see one of the gross out scenes from Tyler's perspective, he's pretty much says what we're all thinking when he discovers what he discovers, and his response is to go, "Oh," and then as he's running away from it, he just says, "God damn it!" It's like, that's exactly what I was thinking when I saw it.
Instead of cursing, he's also using pop stars' names as well.
Yeah. Yeah, looking back on it, there's a lot more comedy in this than I remember. But yeah, the thing about it, though, is when it does become horror, and you can usually tell after a while, when it gets closer to the end, it's a lot easier to distinguish where one ends and the other begins. The thing about it is, Shyamalan has this thing that you probably, much like, what I think a lot of people hated about The Happening, is when it seems like now he's going for horror, it seems more like he's going for more bizarre than scary. And I think that's off-putting to people, and it's not really what they intend to see when they go to something that's classified as horror. He clearly had, but like when you go back and watch The Sixth Sense, that had some really, really, freaky and creepy scenes in it. But he's kind of he's in this phase now where his idea of horror seems to be more of like, making people say what the fuck as opposed to, wow, that's scary. Where it makes him unique. You can give him that, can't you? But one thing he does here, though, that's kind of a bit obvious is there are some things in his movies that are very they happen a lot.
Repetitive.
One of those things would be, when you look like at his whole filmography as opposed to just inside the movie, and that is you always have those scenes where somebody has a long exposition scene about their backstory, and that backstory will always have a way of coming into the climax. Excuse me. So by now you kind of realize that if a character is going on about their backstory for a long time, or they have something really emotional that they have to get out, there's a really good chance that is somehow going to come into play at the climax, and it just kind of kills a lot of suspense when you kind of learn the patterns of him. And yeah, as far as the twist is concerned, I won't say what it is, obviously, but I will just say that when you went in, you said somebody had spoiled it for you before you went in, and you were trying to guess how long it would take me to figure it out. There's one thing that Tyler says in the middle of the movie that kind of tipped that off, and I was like, that could be the direction that it goes. Because I was trying to think. First off, when you look at the title, the first thing that jumps out to me is Aliens.
Yep.
But then that's how our conversation got started when I said he's already done Aliens, though, so I don't know that that's what it would be. But there was one, and then it got to that point to where it kind of, there's a twist that's revealed and then they expand on it. And it wasn't a case of really, it was one of those movies to where it kind of had me to a point to where after a while I wasn't really trying to be ahead of it. That's cool. That's not my way of trying to cover up by saying, damn it, he got me. But there was the one it was kind of in the back of my head and I wasn't sure, but then I wasn't really thinking that it would expand beyond that. So
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's not like a huge expansion or anything, but it's there are directions. And of course it's painfully obvious when you're looking back after you know it. So, and it's not gonna have like the Sixth Sense power. It's not gonna be one of those ones where like it changes the whole perspective of the movie if you go back and watch it again. And it's just like, yeah, that's the case. So
that happened.
And then at the end, they managed to do this, after shifting the horror and the comedy back and forth, the ending is like this big emotional epilogue. And while it is a nice standalone scene, it seemed a bit odd.
It seems out of place.
At the end of this movie.
Seems really
it's
out
like
of place.
It's like he was trying to recapture the magic of the scene with Tony Collette at the end of The Sixth Sense with the bike accident. But still, I think this is fine. I'm sure a lot of people will avoid it just because Shyamalan's name's attached to it, and you know what can you do?
You could do worse right now.
But I was fine with this. You just have to really, really be aware of what you're going. I mean, I know this is the kind of movie that you probably want to go into blind, but at the same time, you really probably need to know what you're in for, so you're not, you know, you're much less likely to like it, I think, if you have no idea what you're in for, because you'll probably have no idea which is which, or if it's, because I guess there's still a problem where a lot of people don't realize he was trying to be comedic with it, and people just think it's really, really fucking stupid. But, you know, well, the thing about it, though, is it's not even really, I mean, there's certainly an absurd comedy to it, but for the most part, the funniest scenes really are the ones that are like they would already be comedy within a horror movie, like a horror movie with comedic moments in it already.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it really just depends. I can't say whether I recommend it or not because I have no idea what kind of person you are and how you would feel about this. So, it's just one where you just kind of have to take the gamble if you want to, and that's the best I can offer you.
Makes sense.
Okay, our second and last movie for this video is The Perfect Guy, which is our annual Fatal Attraction ripoff movie.
Yep.
We have at least one a year. I was saying this is probably, I was getting real No Good Deed vibes from this, if people even remember what that movie is. The movie with Idris Elba and Taraji Henson last year. Which I believe when it came out was #1 at the box office, but then we never heard about it again after that.
That's usually how it happens, man. It's just like a fluke, and then it disappears.
Well, it's just like, this is just like that. When movies were like this, like in the mid-90s, where they were these really, you know, they're now seen as cheesy thrillers. People really liked them back in the day.
It's true.
And it's almost like they're just trying to, like, capture... I was thinking Scream Gems also did No Good Deed, actually. I don't remember for sure. But,
might have.
But the thing is okay, look, I don't know if they're intentionally trying to, like, recapture the magic of cheesy thrillers from the 90s or so, but it seems to be like an ongoing trend now that movies do this every now and then.
True.
Where you're sitting in the theater and you see, you know, the thing above the theater and everything, and you start to wonder if you went back in time to, like, 1998 or something. Because this is totally the type of movie that would have been, like, thriving back then. Like, the one that I always think of is The Rich Man's Wife with Halle Berry and Clive Owen. That's like the ultimate, like, ground for this. If you're not going to go all the way back to Fatal Attraction, we're talking about the ones that just come and go. And with this one, I was a little put off immediately because and once again, maybe this is just because I've seen too many movies. Maybe it won't bother as many people that haven't, but we start off and we're seeing the logos and everything, and we hear a shower running. And immediately I remember, well, this movie is PG-13, so they're going to really do everything they can to push this erotic, sexy thing on us. So we get our beginning credits, and there's Sana Lathan in the shower. Where has she been? Like, from 2000 to 2006, she was, like, everywhere. And then she just vanished.
It's been a while, it really has.
She was in The Best Man Holiday, right?
Yes.
With Morris Chestnut, who we're about to talk about now. So the movie begins, and it's morning, and she's in the shower, and Morris Chestnut's in bed, and she comes over, and she's being all romantic, and he's being all romantic, and then he's like, oh, why don't you just come back to bed, because I need you, and she's like, oh, but I gotta put my stuff on, and I gotta put on my little suit, because I'm gonna be late. I'm already running late. And then she leaves, and I'm like, wow, this is just gonna be routine from the word go, isn't it? Like, we're not wasting any time. Just going right through the motions. Great. So, she's at the coffee shop, and Michael Ealy is there, and he, like, buys her coffee for her, or something.
Well,
just being his charming self that he is in pretty much every movie he's ever been in.
They both have the same coffee, and he lets her have it.
This interaction is about 15 seconds long. That's about it. Like, 15 seconds, he says one sentence, she says one sentence, they go their opposite ways. Well, her and Morris Chestnut decide to break up because he can't commit. He loves her to death, really. But goddamn him, he will not get married. Fuck him.
And his name is John Cena.
And it's not like they've been together for like 7 years. They've been together for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I think that's her problem.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if he really loves her, I'm sure he could commit. There's that argument. But, man, we're getting into, like, Lifetime movie discussion here. But he says he's just not ready right now. So, has nothing to do with not having feelings for her and not loving her. He's just not ready to do that yet. But they have a fight and he leaves. And it's 2 months later. 2 months go by. That is a long time. That's like 60+ days.
True.
And she runs into Michael Ealy again. And wouldn't you believe it? Both of them have exact perfect memories of that 15 seconds they spent at the coffee shop exchanging one sentence each. And she fucks him in the dirty bathroom of a club.
Yep.
Romance is certainly in the air.
They snuck into the back door, too. They didn't even go to the front entrance.
Yes. So, and then of course, it happens. He hangs out with her family loves him, and then we never see them again. And then
Well, that's that never came back from that baseball
Did
game.
they live out of town? Maybe that's what it was.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
because she said we're going to go out of town to see my family.
Because there's a whole lot of times that family could have participated in this movie, and they just never came back. But, of course, long story short, I know it's too late, Michael Ealy's a psychopath. Again.
Shock surprise.
And so it begins. But I will say one thing. Well, for starters, okay, let's just go back. Let's go to The Friends. This is one of those movies where the friends only exist to talk about the guy. That's all they really are there for. Like, I don't know what in God's name they talked about. Before she was with Michael Ealy, all they probably did was sit around and talk about how Morris Chestnut. That's probably just all they do. That is the continuous cycle for the rest of her life with these people. So, they invite him, and this is one of those movies where you have Catherine Morris is kind of the main friend of Dom here. She's the one I'm really singling out because she's the fuck here. Because what happens here is they're all sitting in a circle and at this restaurant, and they're meeting him for the first time, and he is the title character. So, and then he gets into his backstory. And of course it's, I had foster parents, and my parents abandoned me, and all that other shit. And the thing about it is, when he's telling her this, I don't know, because here's the thing, the whole purpose of her friends is to be able to point out the people that aren't good for her. That's pretty much what they live for. They live to be her little protectors of sorts. But the thing is when you watch this scene, he's doing that little tick thing that comes back throughout the movie. And when he's talking to them, he's kind of like, maybe it's just me, I don't know. But the way he was talking to them about his parents and how they abandoned him because it's almost like he was being interrogated by her. He started acting kind of hostile real quick. Not like hostile, but being the people who seem to make a profession out of deciding who this woman's gonna be with. I would have sensed something in this conversation.
Quite a few red flags are going up here.
But, on the contrary, this meeting makes them adore him, and they totally understand why she has fallen so in love with him. Because he likes to fuck in club bathrooms. Because there's really no, we don't know the passage of time here, by the way. They met once in that coffee shop, and then they meet again, and then they go to the club and they fuck, and now they're, happily together, you know. So really anything that happens in the movie now is her fault.
That's one way to look at it.
That's just not, you just kind of got to put the stuff together before shit goes down, and she just wasn't doing that.
Nope.
So, and she totally did not look at the cast list and see that he's played by Michael Ealy. That would have helped her out.
Would have tipped her off something fierce.
So, I don't know if you saw Tyler Perry's movie For Colored Girls, but he's a fucking psycho in that movie. So, I told you about that one scene.
Good lord.
And so, however, and then later on, when he's being all psycho and shit, she goes back to that same friend that totally approved him after he directly kind of seemed a little hostile on the inside. And she's kind of talking like, oh, well, I told you you shouldn't trust people. It's like, fuck you. I'm never coming to lunch with you again. That didn't happen, but that totally should have happened.
Yeah.
Okay, we also have predictability out the asshole. Me and you were calling out scenes like an hour before they happened.
Yep.
There's a neighbor played by Tess Harper, and every single time she was on screen, I'd turn to you and said, that's a walking corpse right there. The nosy neighbor's just a immediate dead end. It was like when I first saw Kristen Chenoweth in The Boy Next Door. I was like, well, there's just no way she survives this. There's just no way. And yes, you actually pointed out the exact method. And yes, however, let me just say though, that this movie kind of, what am I looking for? I don't know that impress is the right word. Won me over isn't the right term.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, once this movie reached its second half, I was kind of totally into it.
Yep.
Because here's what happens. When you see any one of these movies, especially if it's a PG-13 movie, the scene that really tips her off, and good on her, by the way, because this is totally where, this would just be the start of it in any other movie, but here the movie kind of takes it for what it should be. They're at the gas station, and this dude is there talking to her. Michael Ealy comes up and almost beats the dude to death. And this is when she's like, well, this is a bad idea. We're done now. That's it. Goodbye. Like any other movie, I feel like that would have kind of just been the first warning.
Yep.
But it's like, okay, this movie had the brains to say, yes, we're done now. That's you know, just beating the dude to death almost like that. That's yeah, there's something wrong. So, and the thing about this also is, this is kind of where other movies would stop. Like, that would kind of be the extent of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, oh, like, in another movie, it would be like, oh no, he beat a guy up. Oh, shit. And then he just kind of does his thing from then on, and it seems weird. This movie is not really like that.
Nope.
This movie actually, it starts as a romance movie, and then it obviously comes forward into thriller. But there's a point in this movie I was not expecting, where it goes even farther than thriller and pretty much becomes a horror movie. Like, there is a good 25 to 30 minutes of this movie that is a fucking horror movie.
Yep.
Because, like I said, in other movies, he's just kind of a weird guy, and he does aggressive things, but really not enough signs to where the movie seems like it's kind of blowing that out of proportion. This guy is fucking crazy.
Yeah. This
guy is really, really fucked up. This isn't really spoiler, because apparently it's in all the trailers and shit. You get scenes where the guy kind of, you know, follows her and stuff like that. This guy goes past, not that following's a decent thing by any means.
By this standard, it is.
But it gets, here's the thing, not only does he follow her around and show up wherever she is, it gets to the point to where he breaks into her house, he goes to the sink and picks up her wine glass out of it, where her lipstick is still on there, and he, like, yeah. And then, when you think, wow, that's really weird, the following scene is him going into the bathroom, picking up her toothbrush, I swear to God, and sucking on it.
Yep.
This guy is out of his goddamn mind.
And of course, we see him under the bed later on, too.
Yeah, there is, like I said, and there's the shower scene, too. That kind of ran a chill down my spine, too. That and The Gift accomplished that in almost the same way. So I was like, wow, this movie's really going for it. Like, they're not really kind of holding back here. Like, it got to the point where I kind of forgot the movie was PG-13. I was like, where the fuck are they going to take this now?
Yeah.
Now, mind you, it still stays relatively routine. I just was not expecting them to go quite as far as they did in a couple of places.
I agree.
But I mean, you still know every beat. It's just kind of wow, I didn't think they'd take it that far, but, you know, good on you, I suppose.
True.
And he was really good with this. I wasn't sure for a while there. I was like, man, he's normally a pretty decent actor. I don't know what the fuck's going on here, though. But once he gets into playing crazy-ass mode, I was like, okay, this guy legit freaks me out. This character is actually legitimately scary.
He's good at this role, too. He's perfected it.
Yeah, and not to mention, while he's walking around the house doing this crazy shit, the score is like this weird Jack-in-the-Box music. I mean, it sounds like silly when I say that, but...
Anything but.
Just kind of watching it, it's just... Yeah, this movie actually really finds... It's a little late, much later than I would have preferred, but this movie does eventually find a place where it's like, this is a movie that I think I could grasp onto. Now, mind you, I say this, but I'm sure it's a movie most critics and people will hate from beginning to end. They'll hate all aspects of it. But that one particular portion where it seemed to just kind of really, really go for it,
yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm into this. Okay, that's fine. I also like the thing where they kind of... This is another thing that movies kind of skimp on usually, but there are a couple of really great moments where a scene is getting caused in public. Whether they're like in a restaurant outside or they're in a bar, and when a conflict starts to get out of hand, you can see people in the background like looking like, what the fuck is this? Because usually in movies it kind of takes you out of it when you see that like scenes are being made and just nobody's paying attention because they're extras that'll get fired if they do.
Yeah.
But here they actually have the background people like react to like, this is not something that happens in public stuff. So, yeah, but I mean, still, it was a little too late when they finally found that stride. But once it reaches that second half, it's definitely a much more interesting movie. And you just kind of wonder how far they're going to go with it. Even if it does stay quite routine, even in that regard. But, so, yeah. I think, okay, we're done with this video.
My question for you is, real quick, before we go into the ratings, do you think this movie would have pushed it even further if it had an R rating?
I think it probably would have been about the same, just with language.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that was somewhat missing from this.
I did like, obviously PG-13, they have one use of the F word. I thought that was done well. That was a good place that was probably the best place to put it.
I agree.
So, yes, okay.
We're in agreement of this week, actually, for sure. So, we're going to do our ratings here, obviously. The Visit.
2.5.
And The Perfect Guy.
I want to at least say 2.5, but I can't really, in any clear conscience, give it more than 2.
Okay.
But it's, you know, if you're expecting the worst, you'll probably get maybe a little more than you bargained for. So.
The people who were in the theater with us, I couldn't tell if they were digging it or not.
They were only 2.
Yeah.
Right?
So, that ends another edition of AJ's Movie Reviews. This is the last time you're going to see AJ live, if you will. Because everything after that is going to be taped for later on. Or has been previously taped. So that's what we've got. Halloween Horror Nights video. We're doing a podcast tomorrow night, so check that out. The final plus and minus for Pop Flashback on Saturday. Robin Williams Versus continues on Sunday, and the Raw Popcast on Monday, and of course, this coming Wednesday, Halloween Horror Nights 25 employee preview. So, a lot of information and videos coming in the next 3 weeks. So that being said, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. AJ, any parting words?